Welcome back to my ordinary life and the kitchen renovation series. Last time we started to really get the floor back in, so if you haven't watched the series, go back and watch it. But the whole thing was damn rotten, all the joist was rotten, everything was just rotten. So we started to put in all of the joists, really get everything level, which actually didn't turn out super well, so that's a little something for the future content. We ran new electrical and we started to put down the new baseboards. So we actually had a nice surface to walk on, a nice sturdy surface to walk on, and screw everything into place with these special boards that's actually meant for flooring. After that, the flooring looked great. It was so weird to have a new flooring. And then we started to build the basis for the new cabinets, really getting into how the kitchen design was gonna look like, the layout, all of that. It was really cool to see everything just starting to come together. And when we put it into place, it really did feel like we were going somewhere. So that's where we left off. Let's get into the vlog.
Oh, hi there. I finally got off work, and that means it's time to go home. But before we go home, I actually need to go get something from the store. I don't really want to at the moment. I'm super burned out, but this is what we need to finish up the kitchen. So welcome to my ordinary life. Before we jump into the whole renovation here, be sure to leave a big like on the video, subscribe to the channel to become part of the Ordinary Army, and hit that notification bell to get notified about every single new upload. And with that being said, let's head to the store and get some of the stuff that we actually need.
So I went to the store, and of course we had to vibe to a little bit of Rita Ora. She's one of my favorite singers and her new single is awesome. But I went to the hardware store because we had a lot of stuff that we actually had to pick up. I had to pick up something for the painting. We're gonna paint on a membrane. I had to pick up a tile cutter, which we're getting here. And we also wanted some extra tiles just in case that, you know, some of them broke or whatever. And I was feeling really strong at that point. But at this point, it was just about loading everything into the car and getting home with every single thing. So again, as I said, at this point I was kind of burned out because it's very difficult work to do this renovation, but it's worth it.
Finally back home. We had a little pancake night tonight with the whole family, but now it's time that we actually start fixing up the bloody walls. You can see some of it behind me. It's pretty disgusting looking. So we have an issue with a lot of mold, and we have this special spray here. This is a Danish brand. You probably can't find it outside of Denmark, but this is specially designed to remove any mold and any like spores from the mold. So we're gonna use this on the wall to really get in there good, dry it down, and then we can start putting on the membrane for the moisture. So let's spray some shit. We need to let this work for about 15 minutes, 15 to 20 minutes. Then we need to dry it down, let it dry up, and then we can paint on the membrane. We're just gonna do that, let it do its magic, and then I'm gonna be back to paint on the membrane, which is gonna keep all the moisture away from all the brickwork itself. So see you back in 15. It has been drying for about 15 minutes now, and as you can see, yeah, we can just dry this off. It looks nasty, but this is all the mold and all the spores from it. So we're just gonna give this a good wipe down, and then we're gonna wait for tomorrow to paint on the membrane, which is only gonna be on this wall and behind the whole like piping situation here. It's gonna be a little over on here, the membrane, going up to about halfway up, and then over in the corner, because that's where we have the whole issue with the very wet brickwork. So yeah, let's wipe this off. As you can see, this is after we have wiped the mold off. So there's a spot here, and we can really wipe it off. So I'm gonna wipe this off and see you guys tomorrow. It's a new day. We're gonna paint on some membrane. So this is a waterproof membrane that we're gonna paint on top of the walls here to really keep the moisture out and keep all of the good stuff, all of the dryness inside. So I'm gonna start painting this on. This needs to dry for about 3 to 6 hours at about 20 degrees Celsius, which means that it's really cold in this house right now. We can't heat it up because we have shit in front of the fireplace. So it probably is gonna take a bit longer, but we need about 2 to 3 millimeters of this membrane on top of the wall here for it to actually work as intended. So I'm gonna start painting this on. I have never done this before, but again, with everything in this renovation and everything else that I do, we're just gonna take it as it goes and see how we actually get on with it. So let's start painting some membrane. Okay. Again, I've never painted this on before, but it should be fairly forward. So it's really, really thick. It's like, I don't know if you guys can tell, but it's like this really thick paste, and it needs to be painted on in a fairly thick coat. Luckily for us, we don't actually have to paint the whole wall. So I'm just gonna start by painting here. So you can see it kind of goes on as this very, very thick paste, and we need to paint this on as evenly as possible. Then it needs to dry, and then we can set up some drywall. So let's do this. The membrane is now painted on, as you can see behind me, and over in that corner as well. Some people might have been painting the whole wall, but this is the only place where we have the issue. So it just needs to dry for a couple of hours, then we can put on another layer, because again, it needs to be about 2 to 3 millimeters thick for it to actually work, but it's already starting to dry, so that's good. So I will paint on the next coat, and then I'll see you guys tomorrow.
And it actually turned out that we had way more of this membrane than we thought we needed. So I actually ended up painting the whole back wall underneath the window and giving it 2 layers. We also painted more of the corner there. So everything just got membraned up.
Good morning, everybody. It is the next day. Today we are going to put some drywall up in the kitchen. The membrane has dried overnight. It looks really, really good. But to put up the drywall, we actually need some wooden structure beams to go across the wall from the top to the bottom. So we actually have something to put the drywall onto. We need a little bit of space between the drywall and the old wall for some air, so the moisture doesn't actually get caught in between the drywall and the old wall. And instead of me going out and buying new wood for that, we have all this wood here where most of it we can actually repurpose into doing our structure. So I'm just gonna start finding some of the planks that we can actually use. Try to see if we can't hammer down some of those old nails. So for example, we have one here. You can see there's all these old nails on it right here that kind of stick up a little bit. I don't know if you can see it. Yeah, you can probably tell. It kind of sticks up a little bit, so I need to hammer these down so we can get it as flush to the wall as possible. So I'm gonna start by getting a lot of these planks here so we can screw them onto the wall. So that's today's job.
Now, this was not actually as easy of a task as it probably sounds, because as you guys know, if you have been following the series, a lot of this wood that was from the old flooring was really old. It was rotten. So I made very sure to find pieces of wood that weren't actually rotten, had no signs of rot, no visibility of rot whatsoever or mold, to actually use those. And the reason that we're reusing these is because we are actually doing this on a budget. We don't have an unlimited access to money to renovate this house because it is a rental, and with the whole floor debacle, we have spent way more money than we initially wanted or ever wanted to do on this project. So we are trying to recycle as much as possible, and the rest of the wood that you actually see here, we're actually going to use this to heat up the house in the fireplace. So after selecting my wood, I needed to hammer down all of these weird nails because we are actually going to put plasterboards or drywall, whatever you want to call them, on top of these. And that is because the drywall actually needs to have a bit of space between the old wall and the new one, so it can actually breathe and you don't actually trap any moisture or anything like that in between those two new walls. So yeah, hammering everything down here was really tedious, but it was totally worth it because putting up the plaster wall was so satisfying, and that's where you can really start to see the progress being made in this kitchen. So let's actually go in and start putting this stuff up.
Okay, we have some of our boards here. I haven't fixed them all yet, but the idea is we're gonna take the boards, we're gonna put them up on the wall like this, from one section to the other. What this is gonna do is it's gonna allow us to have a little space in between the wall and the drywall, and then we can screw the drywall into the wooden planks. So I'm gonna start screwing these up on the wall so we can start drywalling. It's really coming along. I think it's gonna be good.
At this point, the drywall was starting to come up, and as you can see, I'm gonna switch between calling them drywall and plasterboards because I'm so confused. But the plasterboards look really cool. Michael helped put them up because they were actually really heavy and they have a tendency to break really easy. But while Michael was actually fixing the electrical that we pulled under the floor in last week's episode, I started to get some more of these boards up on the wall so we could actually stick some more plasterboards on this wall that's facing the entrance with the window. And we also needed to take down the old exhaustion fan that was in the corner where he is sitting and actually fixing the electrical, because we're not going to need that anymore. There's going to be something else. We actually thought that we're going to have to move the exhaustion hood from the new wall and up across the wall, but that actually turned out not to be the case, which was really exciting. But getting all of these plasterboards up on the wall was such a cool feeling, because that's where you really start to see the progress in the room. We are losing a couple of centimeters of space from putting up these plaster walls, but when we actually started to put in the cabinets, the room just looks so much bigger. And then we found out why the old exhaustion hood, range hood, whatever you call it, why that wasn't sucking that well. A freaking bird had come in through the outside and actually laid a nest in the what do you call it, in like the hood's piping, which was like, okay, makes total sense why it's not working. But we got the exhaustion hood down, and this is where it really started to take off. The plasterboards were coming up, the last few things were coming down, and we have this hole in the wall that's also going to be covered. So everything was just coming together super nicely, and it was just so cool to see all of this hard work really accumulating into what we were trying to do and starting to see everything come together. We were standing here trying to deliberate where to actually put the fridge, but we actually ended up putting it in another space, because putting it there, it just didn't make sense in the space, and also that we had this hole in the wall that we also needed to fill. So I'm gonna try and show you guys some of the plans, but it's very difficult. All in all, a good day's work.
We have made some really good progress here today. Michael came to help us take down the extraction fan, which was super helpful. He fixed most of the electrical wire. We are almost ready to put in the cabinets. I just need to put up a bit more of drywalling, and there's a change of plan in the layout of the kitchen. So initially we wanted in this corner over here to have our tall cabinets and put the fridge inside of it, so the fridge would be here. But new plan, the fridge is actually going over into that corner over there, because this thing here, the extraction fan outtake, we can't actually move that. Otherwise we have to drill a whole new hole into the wall, and we're just not gonna do that. So we're gonna change up the plan a little bit, but it's still gonna be amazing. It's still gonna be the overall general design that we wanted. Let's do the last bit of drywalling, then we can fix the base. I need to adjust it a little bit. It's a little bit too wide, so actually need to pull in the width a little bit to make it smaller, so the baseboards don't actually stick out on the cabinets. So the cabinets can rest on top of it, and we can have the baseboards underneath be just a few, like 5 centimeters or so inwards. So that is the plan right now. I think it's gonna be good. Like, let's do this.
A few moments later.
We have done a lot of drywalling. As you can see, we have the corner here behind me. We have the whole back wall. And right now, Martin is cleaning up. Say hello, baby. Hello. Martin is cleaning up the big cabinets. That's gonna go over in the corner here, and then we're gonna start trying to get that cabinet in. I'm gonna screw the base down. This corner over here, we're gonna put drywall up, just not right now, because we need to see how the cabinets are. There's gonna be an upper cabinet up here to hide all the exhaustion fan stuff, but we need a cabinet over here, which means that we don't actually need to drywall this whole place up. That would just be a waste of drywall. Let's screw the base into the floor and try to get this this bigger cabinet on top of it. So that's what we're gonna do now.
We were really starting to see everything just come together, with the drywall being up, with me screwing the base in, and starting to get the cabinets in. It was such a surreal moment. It was just like all of this hard work, all with the mold, with the rod, everything, it was just coming together. And we were really starting to see that we were getting a kitchen. It was such a cool moment. And moving this cabinet into the space as well was just so cool. So putting it in for the first time was a really, really surreal moment. And it was like, yeah, this is the first cabinet. And from here on out, it's gonna go somewhat quicker. So there are still a few bumps in the road, but just getting this cabinet in was such a cool feeling, and just starting to see all the hard work being paid off.
Ta-da! This is the first piece of our new kitchen. So this is where the fridge is gonna go. And then here we're gonna have the sink. I haven't shown you guys that yet, but we actually got a package with the new sink, and yeah, it's good. It's so big, it's beautiful, it matches our water spout. It's gonna be good. But sink is gonna go here, dishwasher is gonna go here. So basically same spot as before, but the sink is gonna take up way more room now. Over here we're gonna have multiple cabinets going all the way up to the wall hanging cabinet up here. That's kind of it. We have come a long way today. I'm gonna finish up the last bit of drywalling above the window. We have finished up the last that we need to do today, except the drywalling above the window. So yeah, we're gonna call it a day because we have my mom's birthday in just a couple of hours. So wish my mom a happy birthday down below. She turns 58. She turned that yesterday as of recording this video. But yeah, thank you so much for watching. Remember to like, subscribe and share the video. Leave a comment down below. I have left a comment that you can comment on if you want to, or answer. And I think that's it. Thank you for joining us on our kitchen renovation nightmare hell, and we will see you guys next time. So remember to stay ordinary, because being ordinary is awesome. Bye.
Bye.